Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
You didn't know this, Matt Prater, when you said signed up to coming in.
Yeah.
But we had organised to have a chat with Jason Perko Perkins.
Cool.
We every now and again get to have a chat. He's a busy man. He's travelling. But here we are, and I've got him up on Zoom now. Good morning, Perko. I think we find you travelling this morning.
I am. I'm overseas at the moment, which is not unusual. I'm overseas probably a half a dozen to 10 times a year or so. And probably half of those trips are to the United States, where I'm a dual citizen and do a lot of ministry over here. And I'm actually up in northern Maine in a little town called Presque Isle, Maine, visiting my wife's parents, where she is originally from. So it's a special place.
Fantastic, mate. I bet you when you're in Australia, people say you have an Aussie accent, an American accent. And when you're in America, they say you have an Aussie accent. Is that right?
That's exactly right, mate. Yeah, I feel like I never know where I'm from, depending on where I'm traveling.
Yeah. Do you have to bung it on? Like, do you have to sound more American when you're over there? Otherwise, they don't understand you?
I do find myself toning down my Australian accent for sure. And I'll tell you why, Matt. It's not only so they can understand me, but Americans are enamored by Aussies.
Yeah.
And so it's so that I can limit the amount of times I have to tell my whole life story. Because anytime you open your mouth, people are so curious. They're like, "Oh, where are you from? And how'd you get here?" And all of the above.
Yeah.
So it saves a bit of time if I tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. And then they talk about Steve Irwin or Paul Hogan or Bluey or Thor or someone. Yeah. I know what you mean.
And I live in the home of Bluey now, so I'm very, very attractive to young mums with young children.
Oh, yeah, there you go. But look, as you do tell us, we don't want to tell, I get sick of telling my story. We were going to ask you for your story. We're talking all things, how you came to Christ, how God, started with Lost and Found, Perko, and then we got to the point where we're like, how you've been found by God. I wonder if you could tell us, what's the Perko story?
Yeah, so I grew up in a home of pastors' homes. So my mum and dad pastored churches, not only pastors' home, but my parents were church planters.
Wow.
So I feel like I was actually, I had perfect Sunday attendance before I was even born. Like my mum was in church every Sunday, even while she was pregnant with me. So church was a part of my story, but I came to faith. I really understood the gospel, the good news about Jesus and his love for us and his death and burial and resurrection. When I was actually in kindergarten, there was a first-year school teacher at the school that I went to. She was first year out of university. Her name was Miss Palm, as in the palm of your hand. Mm-hmm. And she explained the Easter story to us. And it was the first time I really understood what the whole idea of the gospel was about. Wow. And I went home that afternoon and I asked my mum if she could explain to me how to become a Christian. And so my mum led me to pray and to ask Jesus to forgive me of my sins after school one afternoon. And I'm so grateful that Miss Palm had the massive courage to be able to share that with us. So, it was awesome.
So you would say you were in the palm of God's hand from that moment, hey?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, Matt. I never thought of that.
You can use that line. That's not copyright. Yeah,
I will, and I'll give you credit.
Thank you.
The truth is, a lot of Christian kids in Christian families, and especially I would say even when their parents are in ministry, I would say that unfortunately, I kind of grew up learning how to live the right way in front of the right people. But then when I was around my mates or at school or whatever, I wouldn't say that I was a very dedicated follower of Jesus until a little bit later on in life. So, but yeah, that's how I first started following Jesus.
You're on Rise and Shine. Matt Prater joining me this morning. I can't even get my words out. I'm so excited. Right.
And we're on the line today chatting with our good friend Jason Perko Perkins. He's an author, a preacher, a coach, and just an all-round good guy, isn't he?
Oh, he so is. And we are loving hearing how you found God, Perko. And I love this story. You've grown up in a Christian home, got saved at a young age. I mean, you were a great church attender before you were even born in your mum's tummy. But you're at this moment, and I think for many people, even myself included, as a pastor's kid, there comes a moment where you have to move from your own faith to from your parents' faith to your own faith. I wonder if you could tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Fel. It's interesting now that I do a lot more, and we've shared lots of conversations on Rise and Shine about this idea of soul care. Yeah. And we've even talked about the journey of the soul. It was probably, Fel, when I hit my first major wall that people would describe it as, or a dark night of the soul is what some other spiritual formation writers would describe it as. When I was in my last year of university, I hit a major wall in my own life personally, but also in my faith. It was a real wall that kind of challenged everything I believed about Christianity. And I almost walked away completely, Phil. And it was because of a guy that I was actually working with. I was going to university, but I was a brickies laborer on the side. I was working my butt off, literally, as a brickies laborer. And it was over morning tea, like at Smoko every day. This bricklayer that was a Christian, he just let me ask any question that I wanted to ask. Matt, Fel, honestly, Dave Thornton was his name. He has since passed away, but I'm so grateful for Dave because it was his influence that helped me move through the wall and come out the other side with, I think, a more pure form of my faith in Jesus.
Yeah, and obviously it was a real God thing that, he placed you there next to that guy. Yeah. And it sounds like that bricklayer really laid a good foundation for your faith, hey?
Matt, yeah. You are on a roll today, mate.
Thank you,
the
mate.
palm of his hand laid a great foundation. Yeah. So good. Yeah, so good.
You can at least tell he's listening.
Yeah, that's right. I'm paying attention, yeah.
That's right. He's picking up on the cues.
Yeah, and I'll just say this one other quick thing, Phil. I don't know if you realise the connection, but Perko and I had a coffee a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And someone had suggested we catch up because he's working with all these pastors and I had just been reading a book called Emotionally Healthy Spirituality, and I was so blown away by this book. And we started having a coffee, and I started telling him, I've been reading this book, you should hear about it. And he goes, yeah, I know the guy. Yeah, I work with the guy. I'm like, what? It was like a real God thing, hey, mate.
Unbelievable how God, he just puts these things together, like he orchestrates our paths. It's why I'm convinced like we are all on a journey and God has got us right where he wants us to be in that journey, right where we are.
Yeah. And I would highly recommend the book, Pete Scazzero. Is that how you pronounce the name?
That's it, Pete Scazzero. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, he's written a whole bunch of books on emotionally healthy spirituality, emotionally healthy leadership, all that stuff. So important for anyone in ministry or just anyone, really.
Perko, this morning you're talking about your own story, but I love that you get in the middle of other people's stories as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's probably, Phil, the thing I am most passionate about is I think everyone needs someone like a Dave Thornton in their life, that bricklayer that was a guide for me during that season in my journey of faith. And so that's what I get to do every day. I do it with church leaders, ministry leaders, but I do it with everyday individuals, people in the workplace, in the business world as well. And so if you are someone that's on the journey and maybe you're facing a wall or maybe you're facing a dark night of the soul at the moment, I love to be a guide on that journey for people as they're moving through it. And you don't have to abandon your faith as you're working through these more challenging seasons of your life. I think you can actually find a deeper, more pure form of your faith on the other side of the wall. And so I love helping people do that. And if you'd like to connect with me, super easy. Just go to perko.company. Again, it's just Perko, PERKO.company, the whole word. And that's because they didn't have .com left anymore. So I just picked Perko.company.
Oh, it sounds cool. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Oh, Perko, thank you so much. Very inspirational this morning.
My pleasure.
Thanks, mate. God bless.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.